Veal, the dairy industry's answer to what do I do with you now that you've been born. I either feed you or you feed me. Suffice it to say, it was the latter. Veal shanks? Historically, this was peasant food. A working calf's leg, tough as a rubber tire. But somewhere along the line, PR got involved. Slapped an Italian name on it, and boom, it's trading at a massive luxury premium. You're paying 11 to 17 bucks a pound. If you waltz into Italy, 56 bucks a kilo. It's so expensive they lock it away like gold. Or how about passatsries, or however you pronounce it. $39 a pound, 86 bucks a kilo. The price alone should come with a bottle of Xanax, calm my nerves. With that money, I expect the cow to come home and help me cook it. And what do you get for this ridiculous cost?
Flight crew, please prepare for takeoff.
A giant bone in the middle. I'm paying premium rates for, something half bone. People say, oh, but the marrow is the best part.
Yes, the marrow inside is pure, immune-boosting, mono-unsaturated liquid gold.
High in fat.
Chefs love beef bone marrow because it acts as nature's ultimate umami bomb.
High in fat.
This rich, buttery spread,
High in fat.
scooped out with the back of a spoon, can be enjoyed on scrumptious toast.
We honor the death of the animal by elevating our toast with its rich-tasting marrow butter.
What about, blue chip alternatives, Beef chuck roast. Cut from the shoulder, exact same collagen profile, exact same fall apart, texture after a 3-hour braise. But, there's zero bone waste. You pay 25 bucks, possibly, and, you're feeding, 5 greedy little pigs, It is the safest, highest yielding meat in the market. But if you're like me, you bought the veal, so now you're left holding the bag. So now you gotta cook it. But you can't just sear it like a tasty, mouth-watering ribeye. No, this is a heavily worked muscle. It's loaded with stubborn collagen. Cook this hot and fast, and you're chewing it until next cheap movie night Tuesday. You need to score the membrane so it doesn't curl up into a ball. The second it hits the hot oil, because no one wants an uneven browning. You got to tie it up, like a hostage, because the meat will completely abandon the bone, fall apart, look like a dog's breakfast instead of fine dining. And I'm sorry to tell you, every recipe online, it's the same song and dance, same circus, different clown, white wine, tomatoes, carrots, and onions, blah blah blah. Tie it up, brown the shanks, chop veggies, saute the veggies, saute the garlic, blend the tomatoes, deglaze the pan, and back goes in the meat, into a toaster oven and cooked until the lip-smacking collagen gives up the ghost. I mean, that's like every other stew, is it not? It's a snooze fest with these mundane recipes. What about some umami-filled mushrooms? What about some eggplants? Or maybe some zucchinis? Tomatoes and zucchinis? It's a match made in heaven, right? And the health profile? Sure, the meat is lean, good protein, vitamin B12, iron, but nobody eats osso buco next to, a tasty salad.
Flight crew, please prepare for takeoff.
You're gonna drown it in white wine, butter, and serve it over a mountain of delicious carb-heavy Milanese risotto, made with high-fat, cholesterol-pumping butter and cheese.
Excuse me, hello? 911? Someone is about to have a heart attack.
Your calorie counts, you know, I'm afraid to say, just went to the moon. Personally, I'd rather, you know, serve it over creamy, you know, cauliflower puree. Similar comforts, less nutritional self-sabotage, you know. Also, you know, it should look elegant, and, you know, at least that's what they say, but, you know, to me, it just looked like a complete mess, you know, a dog's breakfast, you know. I thought a little bit of green might help, but, you know, it didn't, you know. Anyway, the meat was, you know, undeniably soft and tender. The sauce was rich, savory, and loaded with, you know, umami. You know, the shiitake mushrooms definitely helped. Letting everything rest overnight helped even more. You know, the flavors deepened, the sauce became richer, and, you know, the whole dish tasted better, you know, the next day. But, you know, this just wasn't satisfying enough. You know, it needed to be less sophisticated and elegant, if that is what, you know, elegance looks like. You know. Honestly, I should have abandoned the entire ossobuco concept. Forget the string, forget the green stuff, you know, forget pretending this is fine dining, you know. Just, you know, shred the beautiful braised meat into, you know, into the tomato sauce and stuff that delicious sweet meat into, you know, tacos, you know.